Okay, so I just feel led to share this with you guys. I'll just kind of share part of my day with you that happened. So in the morning, like I wake up and I'm, getting ready to take my dog to an appointment, and I had to drive a couple hours. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I have issues getting like enough sleep sometimes. I have insomnia, anxiety. If I have appointments the next day, like it's something that God is helping me get through. But anyways, so I didn't have the best sleep last night. I got enough, but I didn't have the best. But anyway, so I'm going about my day, making coffee, eating, feeding the dogs, and things like that. And, then God is commanding me to help a few people, like to encourage people for whatever they're going through in that moment. So then I obey those commands, and I'm encouraging people through text messaging and other forms of contact. So while that's going on, I drive with the dog. Everything's fine. I have confidence that, my GPS is going to get me there. This is going to be okay. But I have complex PTSD from the car wrecks and stuff that I've been in my life. And so when I can't, it's so frustrating because I feel like when I take 2 steps forward, sometimes I'm going 2 steps back. Like in my healing process is what I mean, like cognitive, therapy and stuff like that. I can relive moments of terror from just the car wrecks and stuff that I've been in. And so I've been having issues driving to cities lately and just driving anywhere, really, honestly, by myself, longer than 30 minutes at a time. Okay, so this was a big deal for me, but I thought I was confident, and I felt God commanding me to go, so I know that it was His command, and He knew how my day was going to be. So I know He's going to use this for whatever reason to teach different lessons. But so, anyways, I'm facing the fear of anxiety already, not having anxiety, but already being fearful that what if I have a panic attack, and then having to calm myself down and to reassure myself that it's not the end of the world, I could just pull over, right? So that's what I'm telling myself. I'm getting there fine, everything's fine. I get about a mile or so away from the destination, my GPS starts to twig out. It's just not working. So I start freaking out. It literally said, "You reached your destination," when I was like on I got off the interstate and I went on like a 6-lane highway or 3-lane highway on each side. And right then it's like, "You just reached your destination." I'm like, okay, yeah, no, because this is still like a highway, and I'm looking on both sides of the road after it had me go through a stoplight. So I'm like, this is insane. There's no other way to get off. I'm gonna have to go another mile down the road just to even turn back around to get off, to go back, to backtrack, to be like, where, maybe it's on the side somewhere. Okay, and I actually did do that, and there were different like medical buildings and stuff, and it did happen to be deeper in that section. But what happened was my GPS was just all over the place. So it led me to a field, it led me to someone's house next to a garbage bin, and then it led me to like this abandoned railroad track. And I'm like, okay, this is not. So I stop at all of these destinations. I'm freaking out, I'm crying, and I'm just begging God to send help to get me to my destination, because I'm just severely triggered at this point, having a severe panic attack. And each destination that I got to, okay, that this twisted GPS sent me to, there were people who saw me in distress. I was crying, I was looking at my GPS, I even rolled down my window for one, and they just passed me by. And this was someone at their own house. And then at one stop sign, a farmer like got angry because I was in his way, which is so insane. He sees I'm in distress. He's angry because I pulled over on the side of the road because I'm trying to figure out where the heck I am. And then I get down the road and it brings me to a stop sign. And I'm at the stop sign, same thing. I'm crying, I'm stressed out, I'm restarting my GPS. It's out of whack. It's not working. And at the stop sign, same thing. I'm in distress and a person's facing me in their vehicle and they see that I pulled over, and like I'm even frailing my arms in moments and I'm crying. And instead of them, like they were slowing down and they looked at me like this is a crazy woman, and then they took off. And in those moments I'm thinking, wow, if it were me, I would stop and help these people. Like, if I saw a woman in distress crying, and she even has her window down in moments, or she just looks distressed and you can tell. I had 2 phones on me. I had my GPS, my other phone, so I was looking at them both. I was crying, okay, and I'm frustrated, and I'm like, why are these people not helping me? Instead they're just looking at me like I'm crazy, and they're taking off. And my poor husband, he was at work, I'm on the phone with him, taking up his time, and then he gets on the phone, and thankfully, he's, trying to calm me down, because he knows how I can be. He's feeling bad that he's not there, because he's an hour away, and, he gets the receptionist on the phone for the animal hospital, and he's trying to calm me down, okay, and I'm quiet, and I'm calm, I'm being as collective and quiet as possible, just trying to calm myself down so that I can hear the directions from this receptionist. And I tell her my location. She has no idea where I'm at, so my gut tells me, which I know is Jesus, to take a right and go all the way down and then take a left. Okay, so then I do that, and then I ask her, and then I say, okay, now does this building make sense to you, like this business that I see? And then she's like, okay, yes, you're just a couple blocks down. Like, okay, thank God. Okay, well, it was so stressful, you guys. I don't know how to explain what happens to my body when I have a panic attack. And it's not just like, oh, just a little panic attack. It's one of those, like, where you don't even feel like you're inside your body. It's like dissociative, and it feels like it's hard to connect sentences, it's hard to connect thoughts. So I'm exhausted from my day. I just got back a little while ago. My body is, it went through such like a panic, like a roller coaster, right? That now my body is just like drained, mentally, physically, emotionally drained, and I'm just having to like relax. So then what ended up happening was, when I did find the road and I did show up, I was there, and it's a very like quiet atmosphere, because they have this light that turns on at the animal hospital when someone is saying goodbye to their beloved pet, so everybody knows to be quiet. So that was on the entire time that I was there, so I know it was on when I was in distress on the phone with this receptionist, and she, I told her, I said, look, I'm having a severe panic attack, I have PTSD, and so I'm just, please, thank you so much for being patient with me, can you please just explain to me where you're at, and I'll do my best to follow your direction. Okay, so I'm trying, and she's trying to explain it to me. I'm sure everybody in that room heard my distress, because when I walked in, I heard the receptionist on the phone, and you could hear their conversations, like if you dropped a pin in the room, like you could hear everything going on. So when I walk into the animal hospital, they look at me, they know it's me. They've never met me before, because I've never been to this destination, but they know this is the woman who was in distress. It's all over my face, right? My body, I'm still shaking, I'm still shook up. I had been crying, so you could tell. And she's like, oh, I'm so glad that you made it. I was going to come look for you myself, and smiled. And she really did make me feel comforted in that way. And it wasn't a condescending way. She was just really kind and sincere and compassionate. So, that was nice. But it just made me feel like I wish the world knew what it felt like to go through such a traumatic event in that way, and to really be sensitive to what people's needs are. I'm just so glad that my husband was able to talk to me and to really help me in that moment, and that God directed me, you guys, because had they not, I probably would have pulled over and cried for an hour, and probably wouldn't have even went to the appointment if I was so stressed, it was so stressful. I was ready to go home at that point, and it turned into like a 3-hour appointment. Anyways, I'm just thankful that we got there. I'm thankful that God got me there, and it just made me think, like, when I see people in distress, I really do care about people, and I want to help any way I can, and I really try to put myself in people's shoes. And that's what this really taught me more about, is how the world is cold in that way, you guys. Like, how people can just pass people by when they're in distress. I was clearly in distress, frailing my arms around, rolling down a window, and people still passed me and didn't bother to talk to me. I mean, it was just really discouraging, you know what I'm saying? It showed me, like, I know in those moments God would be saying, help this person out, they're in distress. Anyways, rant over. I hope that it encouraged you in some way. If you've ever been through this, man, it takes so much strength to get behind a wheel. I tell you what, like, I've been in so many wrecks, you guys. It takes so much strength for me to get behind a wheel, especially by myself, because I go through my own torments in my mind of the devil and my own fears, right? Of things that could happen, and, you know, just all of that whole mental battle that goes on. So it takes a lot of strength to drive places, especially places I haven't been before, and especially, like, cities now. Used to, I could drive across America, which I have done a couple times, but it's just gotten harder for me over the last 6 years or so, to where I'm even talking to a psychologist who's really, really helpful, and she's helping me, you know, with cognitive therapy, and, you know, just, she encourages me, and she gives me, like, you know, challenges and tasks and things like that to help me. So, and then at the same time, you know, Jesus, he will tell me, like, if he wants me going somewhere or if he doesn't. So I know that when it's God's will, like, I know God is always with me, and he's going to get me through whatever situation and circumstance. But that's why it's so important to go to Jesus for all things, you guys. Because even though he knew my day was going to be like this, he knew that I would make this video, because I wasn't going to waste an opportunity. Like, because I want people to know how much God cares about what they're going through, and how much he wants other people to care about what you're going through. And he would be commanding people to help you in your time of distress. And I know what it feels like to be in distress and to not get that help immediately and when it's needed. And, you know, there's so many times I've had to help calm people down and really speak life and love into their heart. And it's just, I need that too, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a human being, I need that too. And so, like, it's just sad to see how people can walk past the suffering in moments, you guys. And I don't ever want to be that person. And I'm not saying that I'm not guilty of that. I'm sure I have been in my life. But I'm telling you that I put all of my heart and all of the work and effort forth every day to be there however God tells me to be there for others. And there's just so few laborers in that way. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect, and I'm not saying this to boast. I'm saying this out of a spirit of grief, how there aren't more people who are willing to help others. So I just want to encourage you to become the helper, become the good Samaritan. Okay, hope you guys are having a great day. God bless.